Alright, this should be match number 2 for the Draco Cup, pool number 14. And we've got Genesis versus Sygard, Sigo, that I played previously. Should be an interesting matchup. Let's see if I can... There we go. That should be allow me to spectate, hopefully. Interested to see how Genesis fares here. That is a Charizard behind my face there. Garchomp, Toxapex, Hydreigon, Ensign and Farrig. Interesting team. Toxapex stall. I wonder how that's going to fare up against Sigo's team. We've got Sun versus Sand, which will be interesting. A couple of interesting sets as well between the two teams. Mega Sceptile could be a interesting win condition for Sygard, although depending on what the speed is on their Charizard, I know mine was slower, but depending on what their speed is, could give them an edge in the Tyranitar matchup if they've got Sun in their favour. Also, the Rotom looks quite good into Genesis's team. Interested to see the approach of the two players here. Interesting. Interesting lead from both players, I think. Incineroar Fake Out into Rotom will save the Charizard from a Discharge, Volt Switch, Hydro Pump. Although if Charizard manages to get the Sun up, that Hydro Pump's going to be doing a lot less damage. Still going to do a ton though, depending on what the special defense investment is in Charizard. Interesting position here. I wonder if Sygard is going for... I know they don't have Trick Room on their Sinistcha. Interesting. So there's the Mega Protect on the Sinistcha, which will take a lot of damage from a Heat Wave. Rotom flinches. Solar Beam. Now you got to imagine that's going into the Rotom. Good call there to have the Solar Beam go into the Rotom. Puts Genesis in a pretty good spot. Really difficult to switch in Tyranitar on that first turn. You want to get the weather control, but the weather change would happen and then the Mega and Drought would get set up. You swap anything in there, it's going to take that attack, and it's not going to take it very well. Let's see what Sceptile is going to do here. Rage Powder on the Sinistcha. It's not probably the amount of damage that Sygard was looking for there. Ooh, wow. Okay. Nice play by Genesis to pivot the Incineroar out. That gets something else in. and gives them fake out in a later turn. And Sygard forfeits the first game. Okay, I wonder what was in the back there. They may have just wanted to save what was in the back for the next game. Sinistra Ghost type is nice to prevent the fake out going into the Sinistra. Oh, I've got to spectate again. Sorry, Sinistra being a ghost type means that you can't fake out into it, but having Scarf Rotom makes that tricky. It has to do something or it switches into an attack. And it's not going to take that... nothing is going to take that attack very well. I wonder how Sygard is going to switch things up, or whether Genesis is going to stick with the same game plan. On Genesis's side, I wonder if they switch up and decide to bring anything else this game. We saw Scarf Garchomp. Interesting lead again. So Fake Out can go into one of them. But who do you fake out here? Tyranitar can protect, which is one move. If the Charizard Megas and the Tyranitar protects, then that gives the Charizard the chance to Mega next turn to have weather control. Although, if the Charizard protects, then it becomes the same mind game. Okay, we see an Insane switch into Scarf Garchomp, which I think is fair. Protect from the Charizard. Volt switch goes into the Garchomp. Good read on Genesis to switch in the Garchomp there. Okay, now both players have got an interesting situation. Where do you switch out or Mega? Looks like the Charizard in this case is faster than the T-Tar, but I wonder if that'll be the same when the T-Tar Megas with the speed increase that it gets. I would imagine that Garchomp would be faster than Rotom in this situation. Rock Tomb could be interesting to lower the Rotom's speed. Still not got to lower enough to undo the Scarf and make it slower, but it depends on... Nice protect. Rotom Volt switches. Who is Sygard going to bring out? Possibly the Excadrill. Yep. Now Fake Out is online for the Incin. Tyranitar is protected, it can't protect. Excadrill can protect though. I think we will see the Tyranitar pivot out here and Rotom will come in. The Garchomp went for Stomping Tantrum, so it's locked into that. So the Rotom switching would be pretty safe here. Toxapex. The Toxapex has come out. Didn't expect to see Garchomp switch there, but it does make sense. Ooh, Excadrill went for the attack. That's the sash broken. Now, Rotom is in with the Levitate ability. It's got a... Excadrill has a pretty safe Earthquake into both of these two. However, if you expect one of them to switch out, possibly into the flying type Charizard, then maybe Rock Slide is the way to go. And with Rotom, Discharge could be an interesting Protect on Incin. Not a lot of Incins run Protect, but just scouting out, trying to bait out possibly a switch. There's the Earthquake. Doesn't affect Rotom because of Levitate. Ooh, went for the Hydro Pump. Interesting. Not 100% accurate, the old Hydro Pump. With the damage from Earthquake, I would have thought an electric type follow-up in Discharge or even a Volt Switch would have taken out both of these Pokemon. Alright, Sceptile is in. Is Sceptile going to be in the Mega? We saw Tyranitar before. Who is going to be the Mega? Nice wide guard. Hydro Pump does connect. This is going to do a lot to Garchomp. Yep. And the Sandstorm subsides. Right. We've got two Scarf Pokemon. Don't know how much speed. You would have to imagine that Garchomp would be max speed here. What is it going to lock into? It's good to see Genesis not afraid to click the wide guard. I mean, it makes sense in front of Excadrill, who's got two spread type moves, to click the wide guard and protect the Incin there. Well, used to be Incin, now Garchomp. Much slower game than the first game. See, Incin come back in, that gives it fake out pressure next turn. Sceptile pivots out. Another Hydro Pump lands. So much for being 80% accurate, Hydro Pump. So, lot slower game this time than game one. Interesting to see both Megas come out from Sygard. That's Incin down. But Rotom is on a timer. Incin down, Charizard's back in. Charizard isn't at full health. Hydro Pump in the sun is still going to do a lot of damage. But Sygard has a choice here. Is Tyranitar the Mega, or are they going to Mega Sceptile? So it'll be interesting to find out what their game plan is for this one. Who's going to commit to Mega first? Will it be the Charizard? It's going to have to be the Charizard at some point. It's just, can Sygard stall out until it's committed? There's the Tyranitar Terra, Mega. So Mega committed on T-Tar. Charizard protects. Okay, interesting. Rock Slide from T-Tar. No Wide Guard. Does a nice bit of chip. That's not insignificant on Toxapex. Ooh. Infestation. So, Infestation will trap Excadrill on the field, and its sash is broken. It's going to do damage over time, a little bit of chip, but more importantly, Charizard now has a free Mega Evolution to set up the Sun, which will take Sand Rush away from Excadrill. Without that Sand Rush, it's going to be a lot slower, and with that sash broken, it's going to be super susceptible to any sort of fire type attack that will come out from Charizard. Okay, T-Tar switches, that's fair. Rotom comes back out. There's the commit to Mega on the Charizard. I mean, it had to happen eventually. But what are they going for? Are they doing the same play as last time, just going for the Solar Beam? No, we see a Heat Wave. That's the end of Excadrill, and that's a big chunk of damage into Rotom. Now, who's coming out here? Is it going to be Sceptile or is it going to be Tyranitar? You've got to imagine it's Tyranitar to set the sand back up. So we've got one Pokemon down a piece. Garchomp is very heavily chipped. Rotom is under the effects of Toxic, so it is also on a timer. I mean, there's Sceptile, but what is Sceptile doing in the face of Charizard? I can see what Sygard is going for here with the Scarf Rotom. If it gets a Hydro Pump off, or even a Discharge. Oh no, because it's only Mega Sceptile that's got the Lightning Rod, so that won't work. Interesting. And what does Genesis do here? With Tyranitar out, you would think that they would want to bring or get Charizard out of there so they can reset the Sun up later. Nice Protect into the Volt Switch. Dragon Pulse, ooh, Protect on the double up. Infestation, which is fine, because the Volt Switch, they'll still be able to pivot out. But that's... oh, it was so close. I wonder how much... 1%. I wonder how much health that was. I probably can't see it, can I? No, 1%. I mean, it's a nice hold, but who do you go into this time? If they go into Toxapex, Toxapex just protects, and then there's nothing you can do. With Infestation, you can't hard switch. Ooh, they didn't protect. Interesting. Surely T-Tar comes back out now. Very nice. Dragon Pulse into Charizard. That's not a lot of damage. That's not as much damage as I thought it was going to be. And that's the end of Sceptile. Unfortunately. And Toxic into T-Tar. Sandstorm chip is nice, but again, what is... I mean, it's T-Tar against the world here, and he's on a timer. Rotom can get one more attack off. Charizard protects. Yep, double protect to see what Rotom discharge. Oh, he didn't protect the T-Tar. Oh, that's probably more damage than you would like to see. It's going to come down to such fine margins with the toxic effect already. Yep, there goes Rotom. I think the discharge was a bit of a Hail Mary. I wonder now if... Yeah. That's unfortunate for Sygard. Genesis played very well. They played that game very well. There was, by the looks of it, not a lot that Sygard could do against that team. And I think it was the combination of the Scarf Garchomp just putting out so much pressure that Garchomp is very good into a lot of Sygard's team. So well played to Genesis. Unlucky Sigo. Oh, I didn't know that came up down the bottom. That's interesting. Yeah, very well played. Good game. GG's to you both. On to the next round.